You're watching News Central now on News Central TV. I'm Dashen, Usman. The top stories this hour. Labour gives state governments December 1 deadline for implementation of new minimum wage. Sensitive materials arrive for Ondo governorship poll. Mauritius Prime Minister Jugnauth concedes election defeat. Details shortly. News Central now at this hour begins with Labour Matters, where the Nigerian Labour Congress has set a December 1, 2024 deadline for state governments to implement the new 70,000 naira minimum wage, warning of indefinite strikes for non-compliance. The NLC accuses fuel marketers of inflating petrol prices and contends that current policies are impoverishing Nigerians, with rising costs and hunger impacting citizens. In a communique issued on Sunday, following its National Executive Council meeting, the NLC called for a review of what it calls anti-people policies, noting worsening economic hardship across the country. Now, in July 2024, President Bola Tinubu approved the wage increase, but the implementation has been inconsistent across states, leaving many workers still waiting for the adjustment. Now let's talk election matters. Sensitive materials for the Ondo State governorship election set for Saturday, 16 November 2024, have arrived in Akure, the state capital. The materials delivered by the Nigerian Air Force were received by Central Bank of Nigeria officials. The Independent National Electoral Commission confirmed the delivery on its official social media page on Monday, marking a key step towards ensuring a smooth and secure election process in the state. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has announced the deployment of 6,000 officers to ensure security across Ondo State ahead of the November 16, 2024 governorship election. Now, the Commandant General of the NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Audi, disclosed this in a press release signed by the Corps' spokesperson, Babawale Afolabi, on Sunday. Audi emphasized the Corps' commitment to providing comprehensive security before, during, and after the poll. Now, he explained that personnel would be drawn from Ondo and neighboring states, including Ekiti, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Lagos, Edo, and Delta. To security matters, where the acting chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has urged Nigerians to support the military's fight against insecurity during his first operational visit to Sokoto, headquarters of the 8th Division. Oluyede highlighted the importance of community collaboration and appealed for timely information sharing, especially amid the rise of new threats, including the terror group Lakurawa. Now, his visit included discussions with senior officers and assessments of troops' readiness in the Tangaza local government area. He also encouraged soldiers to maintain their efforts in securing Nigeria and emphasized that while security challenges are inevitable, the nation's response to them is crucial for stability and peace. A tragic attack has struck Kebbi State as the armed group known as Lakurawa Terror Group reportedly killed 15 people and rustled over 100 cattle in Mera local government area. Now, the assault occurred as residents were preparing for Jumat prayers, with the group exploiting this vulnerable moment. Local leader Alhaji Bashir Isa Mera, known as Yerima Mera, reported that the community members pursued the attackers into the bush, resulting in a gunfire exchange. 2 of the attackers were killed, but 15 residents tragically lost their lives. Governor Nasir Idris expressed deep concern over the incident and ordered military reinforcements to contain the situation. The deputy governor and emir of Argungu visited the affected area, assuring residents of strengthened security measures to prevent further attacks by the Lakurawa group. Earlier, Dennis Amakri, a retired assistant director of the Department of State Services, shared his thoughts on this development. The Arewa Consultative Forum has raised urgent alarms about a new terrorist group known as Lakurawa, which has become active in Kebbi and Sokoto states. The group is believed to have formed in Niger Republic amidst recent turmoil there, with Nigeria's defense headquarters confirming its presence in the northwest region. Now, the ACF has called for immediate, decisive action to prevent Lakurawa from establishing a foothold, warning against a delayed response as experienced with previous insurgencies. On Friday, the group launched an attack on Mera town in Kebbi State, killing 15 people and stealing over 100 cattle. The ACF urged security agencies to strengthen intelligence efforts and collaborate with community leaders in counter-terrorism measures. They also stressed the need to revitalize cross-border tasks as the task forces to secure the region effectively. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has confirmed that several terrorists were killed in separate air operations in Kebbi and Zamfara states. The Air Force also reported the destruction of strongholds belonging to notorious bandit warlords. In a statement on Sunday, NAF spokesperson Olushola Akimboyewa said the hideout of terrorist kingpin Ado Alero was among those targeted, adding that many of Alero's fighters were killed during the operations. Akimboyewa added that the strikes were launched in response to verified intelligence on increased terrorist activity in the region. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has set up a 7-man committee to interface with residents of the demolished Ruga Shanti located at the Wuye district of Abuja. The minister, while condemning attempts aimed at blackmailing governments over the demolition exercise, says that it was carried out in an effort to rid the area of hoodlums and miscreants and to improve the security of the capital. Amadin Uyi reports.
The day commenced with a security meeting with heads of security agencies in the federal capital. The minister of the FCT then led the team to the Ruga settlement, which was recently demolished by the FCT Development Control. From there, he engaged with the displaced residents as he gave the spokesperson an opportunity to air the views of the community.
We are not dragging anything with the government saying we get land or we have anything, but we are pleading. Please underneath honorable minister. We are pleading. This environment we are seeing is like a mini Nigeria.
The FCT minister informed the community that the demolition exercise was prompted by attempts to rid the area of hoodlums and miscreants.
As we are seeing security, they're everywhere. We don't know who they who. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See train station, the passenger. Let so. Yes, sir. How is the same Kuli people? Oh, no, some of them from that thing. They have nobody know. If not, I'll see you and I know you. The other person I know now. What you know could do.
He also added that the FCT administration will continue to tackle insecurity within the capital and ensure that citizens are safe.
No government will say it will just sit down like that. See where they get it, try to do security everywhere. If you talk of inflation, I agree. But you go out of insecurity again. It doesn't things don't come back. So the one will feel tackle, no good tackle now. We don't say we will solve the other problem. Insecurity is a big problem for Nigeria. Yes. And we will not go fit.
The minister then set up a 7-man committee to interface with the displaced residents so as to find a lasting solution. He, however, warned that no temporary structure should be erected on the land. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
We understand that the estimated cost of landing premium motor spirit has dropped significantly by 20.34%, reaching 971.57 naira per litre over the past 3 months. Now, this decrease in landing cost, which reflects the expenses associated with importing and distributing petrol, suggests some relief from global market fluctuations and supply chain pressures. However, despite this reduction, retail petrol prices in Nigeria have surged by 443 naira or 71.79%, rising from 617 naira per litre on 1st of August 2024 to 1,060 naira per litre by 8th of November 2024. Data from the Major Energy Marketers Association shows that in August, oil marketers imported petrol at 1,219 naira per litre, with Brent crude at $80.72 per barrel and an exchange rate of 1,611 naira to the dollar, selling it at 617 naira per litre. In an open letter, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has called on President Bola Tinubu to restrain Nigeria's 36 governors and the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike from undermining judicial independence by gifting cars and houses to judges. Now, SERAP argues that such gifts compromise judicial impartiality and threaten the constitutional balance of powers. The letter, signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, urges Tinubu to engage Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi to challenge these practices in court. SERAP stresses the need for improved judicial funding to ensure independence and avoid undue executive influence. The organization warns of potential legal action if the government does not address this issue within 7 days, underscoring the importance of safeguarding judicial integrity and maintaining public confidence in the rule of law. Earlier, legal practitioner and public affairs analyst Stalwar Oseruwaja shared his thoughts on this development.
When you look at it, when it's coming from one arm of the government to another arm of the government, which believe to be a conservative, who are held to be a conservative pattern, different from the liberal pattern of life. If you look at the reverse code of conduct for judicial officers, you discover that, to my personal opinion, and in my view, I think that is absolutely wrong. And I also think that calling on the president is creating dictatorship, because that means we are resting the whole of an institution in the hand of one person. What I believe and what I think that the SERAP ought to have done is either, since the Nigerian Bar Association, who is the watchdog of the Temple of Justice, is asleep, what I believe SERAP ought to do is not to call on the president, because the president is different and distinct from the judicial arm of government. Is for them to go straight to court and invoke the provision of the Constitution, because I see no reason for such gifts coming or for such projects be executed by the executive arm and handed over to the...
It's time for a break. When we return, Nigeria partners firm on aircraft maintenance facility. We'll tell you more after this break. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the Nigerian government, through the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, has entered into a public-private partnership arrangement with a private firm to establish a maintenance, repair and overhaul facility for aircraft. The new facility is expected to operate as an approved maintenance organization under the regulation of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Now, according to reports, this facility, the first of its kind in Nigeria, aims to meet growing maintenance needs for aircraft operating within the country, which currently often require expensive and time-consuming trips to foreign maintenance centers. Now, to speak further to us on this, we have Olumide Ohunayo, his General Secretary, Aviation Roundtable joining us for more insight. Thank you so much for joining us, Olumide.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
All right, so can you talk us through how the new MRO facility in Nigeria will address the current challenges faced by airlines regarding maintenance services that often necessitate costly international trips?
Yes, the maintenance of aircraft among the operators at this moment is at the brink of heavy financial burden, and that's why you see that we have aircraft capacity within the airspace, and fares are going up. We've always advocated for MRO, that's maintenance, repair, and overhaul organization in Nigeria. And the last 8 years, the former minister went told the whole world they had gotten a partner in Egypt, and up to today, nothing has come out of it. So if a new partner has been found now, it's well accepted by the industry, and we expect that this will reduce the cost of maintenance generally for Nigerian operators. That's all I wish.
A critical examination of Nigeria's policy changes, aimed at fostering local capabilities in aviation maintenance, particularly in terms of reducing dependence on foreign expertise. Now, do you think that the shift is apt? Is the capacity there to carry through this initiative?
An expensive venture, and also need a lot of land mass for it to be successful. And I think this is a good opportunity. Let me reiterate here that we already have about 2 or 3 organizations coming up with the same facility. Airpeace is building one at the airport in Anambra. Nigerian airline has just announced the partnership with an organization, and they'll be using Enugu. And I think the Akwa Ibom State Airport, the one in New York, also has a very light hangar, and they're also working on partners. And it's good for the industry to help the sub-region. What I would need all of them to do is they should look at what each other is doing, so you don't duplicate the market. But once you duplicate, you are going to cost more harm than good for yourselves. And like every other business, there are different variants within the MRO sector. There are those who are into repairing of the body frame. There are those that repair the engines. There are those that repair the hydraulics or wheels. And there are those who do only the wiring and fitting. So there must be synergy to do what is in the market already, so you don't put more pressure or look for what's not in the market and start coming in. But by and large, both the ones owned by the airline, being pursued by the airlines, the one being pursued by the Akwa Ibom State government, and not just announced by the federal government, they must be able to earn the certification of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. They must be able, in order to increase having more clients, they need to get certification of the South African Authority, Aviation Corporation, and also need to get the certification of Europe and that of the US, the FAA. When you have such certification in your MRO, you are ready. You have half of a problem is already solved, because what you have done is that all the strong regulatory body have certified that MRO center for meeting the obligations and meeting all safety processes and procedure. So when you have that, then you can be sure you can have more clients come from outside Nigeria to come and fix repair the aircraft in Nigeria. Even the foreign airlines that fly into Nigeria, rather than bringing engineers on board or stationing engineers within Nigeria, they cannot use this ones we have here to resolve whatever issues they have with their aircraft. But the part there, the sweet part there is that it's going to create employment. It's going to increase and improve the technically and know-how of the aircraft engineers within the Nigerian airspace.
You talked about partnerships and certifications. Are you satisfied, with the regulatory framework and requirements that, govern the establishment? Or, do you think that there are some specific criteria that must be considered before granting these licenses?
Well, yeah, the rules and regulations are there, but as all this in the Civil Aviation Act, what is needed to be certified as a repair and maintenance repair and overhaul organization. And I think for those who are on ground and that have been approved, one of them is seven stars, and the general firm was approved by the NCA. And I can guarantee the NCA would definitely approve any of the maintenance organization if they meet with the regulations and with all technical requirements. But like I said, to gather more customers outside Nigeria, even for the foreign airlines operating to Nigeria, any MRO now should not only think about working with Nigerian airlines, or any other operator within Nigeria, but they should be working towards having people other African countries, neighboring countries, and even schedule flights for those going to Nigeria, so they all can use our own MRO. But the only way that can be done, our MRO must be insured, must have all those certifications I earlier mentioned. That's Nigerian certification, South African certification, the EU certification, American certification. When you have a certification, you are now top notch. And referrals will start coming from outside the country, and that also improve the use of the MRO facility, improve the revenue for the industry, and also help reduce the cost of maintenance. Most importantly, for the Nigerian operators, rather than fly all these aircraft out of the country, these aircraft are kept here. It is the maintenance board, the organization, that then go through the stress of ordering those equipment and ensuring they come back and get cleared quickly so the equipment can be used by the airline. So it takes a little of stress away from the airlines themselves, and also will help in improving our operation.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Olumide, for your time and for speaking to us on this.
Thank you for having me.
4 Nigerians have recently achieved notable electoral victories in the United States and Australia. Dr. Oye Owolewa was re-elected as the shadow representative for Washington, D.C. Chiaka Bari won a seat in Australia's Ginninderra district under the Liberal Party. Segun Adeyina retained his role as state representative for Georgia's District 110, and Yemi Mobolade made history as the first black mayor of Colorado Springs. In a congratulatory message, NIDCOM Chair Abike Dabiri-Erewa commended their achievements and commitment to public service in their adopted countries. She encouraged them to uphold their resilience and dedication and offered prayers for their continued success in their roles. Each brings a unique background in law, IT, healthcare, and business, making valuable contributions to their communities internationally. And now let's head to the power sector, where the transmission company of Nigeria has reported another incident of vandalism, this time targeting the 330 kV Lokoja Gwagwalada transmission line. Now, this follows a previous attack on the 330 kV Shiroro Kaduna lines, which left parts of Nigeria without power. TCN said the recent incident occurred in the early hours of November 9, with transmission towers T306, T307, and T308 vandalized, leading to a power disruption. Engineers attempted to restore the line, but efforts failed, prompting TCN to send patrol teams who confirmed the damage. TCN expressed serious concern about the growing frequency of such attacks, which significantly impacts the nation's already fragile power infrastructure. In the digital age, the internet is key to business, education, and communication. But across Nigeria, internet access is still limited in many areas, creating what is called the digital divide as Nigeria's tech ecosystem continues to grow. And can the country thrive with or without widespread access to the internet? News Central's Chidima Ona explores this question in this report.
Nigeria is one of the largest economies in Africa and has a growing tech ecosystem, but internet access remains a challenge for many people.
With the world fully in a digital age, poor access to the internet can make a huge difference. The question then is, how well can the country's tech industry thrive without widespread internet access?
It's oxygen. Like internet, like tech without internet is basically not possible because it's oxygen. Without it, it can't breathe. It needs the internet to thrive.
So imagine you're working in a tech space now. You definitely need maybe your Wi-Fi, your router and stuff like that. So yes, internet is important 100%.
Everything that we do now relies heavily on internet. I don't need anything you want to do. From even teachers, nowadays we do online classes, bankers, basically, even as lawyers, we need internet constantly so we can do research and stuff like that. Personally, I work remotely, so I know how important internet is for every facet of the work that we do, so it is very important.
For tech entrepreneurs and founders, the limitations of stable internet connections are endless. In an interview with a tech entrepreneur, he discloses some challenges they face in innovating, collaborating with international clients, or scaling a business, highlighting the poor internet infrastructure in the country.
So if you're starting up a business that people have to use the internet, a tech platform, that will kind of affect your ability, your chances of attracting foreign investors, because you will not have many people using that product. The market size will not be addressed. And what investors always look out for is the number of customers, the number of markets that is there to address.
While Nigerians from all walks of life agree that internet access is critical to the growth of the country's tech ecosystem, many emphasize the need for better infrastructure and affordable, reliable access. Whether the digital divide can be bridged will ultimately depend on the efforts of both the government and private sector to bring the internet to more Nigerians. In Lagos for News Central, I am Chidima Ona.
Coming up, Mauritius Prime Minister Jugnauth concedes election defeat. We'll bring you details after the break. The news continues in East Africa, where Mauritius opposition is on track for a legislative election victory as Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth conceded defeat on Monday. Although final results are yet to be released, opposition leader Navin Ramgoolam is poised to become Prime Minister for a third time, leading the Alliance of Change coalition. Jugnauth acknowledged a significant loss for his LEPEP alliance, led by his militant socialist movement in Sunday's election in the prosperous Indian Ocean nation. Now, the Election Commission estimated a strong turnout of about 80%. Still in the region, as Somaliland's presidential election nears, vibrant campaign rallies sweep the breakaway region of Somalia. Cities from Borama to Hargeisa are awash in party colors, green and yellow for President Muse Bihi Kulmiye's party, orange for Wadani, and dark green for the Social Justice Party. The election set for Wednesday marks a direct vote in Somaliland, which declared independence from Somalia in 1991 but remains unrecognized. Tensions are high, with Mogadishu over a maritime deal between Somaliland and Ethiopia intensifying the region's push for sovereignty. Bihi, in power since 2017, faces strong competition from Wadani's Abdurrahman Mohammed Abdullahi and Social Justice's Faisal Ali Warabi. Somaliland's multi-party democracy is a source of pride for its 6 million residents seeking international recognition.
laakiin dadka soo jeeda geeska Afrika ka tirsan oo la midii oo aan badris wadaagno way jiraan ama Djibouti ha noqoto ama Soomaaliya oo kala go'naa ha noqoto ama dawladaha aan isku dhaweeyno Masar oo kala ha noqoto Arab oo kala ha noqoto anaga diidanato ciidan dawladda Ethiopia heshiiska uu dhaxmaray diidan oo ba arqaldo ka qatay caalamka ka guuleysanataa adduunyo wax way arkayaan
wadamadaasna uu saarnaa Muuse Biixi ayaa aqoonsi u dhawaatay insha Allah bismillaah gariimkana waana loogu dhawaaqi doonaa aqoonsiga.
Still ahead, U.S. President-elect Trump urges Russia to de-escalate conflict. We'll bring you details after the break. Now, in other news from around the world, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to escalate the conflict in Ukraine during a call made the day after his election victory. Now, speaking from Florida, Trump reminded Putin of the considerable U.S. military presence in Europe. This conversation with Putin was one of several Trump held with global leaders as he outlined his foreign policy priorities. He also spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and others following his 2024 election win. For more on this, I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, now how concerned with Ukraine will Ukraine be about this call between Trump and Putin?
Well, first of all, we have had some news in the past hour or so that actually the Kremlin has denied that this call has taken place in the first place. So I think we have to take these reports with a pinch of salt. We do know that Trump has had a conversation with Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian leader, but as for how reassured they will be on either side, I think at the moment what's happening is the administration that are in power now, the Democrats under Joe Biden, are trying to release as much funding and weapons to Ukraine as possible in the event that potentially when Trump becomes president, not as much weapons, not as much support is available for Ukraine as previously hoped. Now, we know that Trump has been quite critical of Volodymyr Zelensky and the war in Ukraine. Trump has really aligned himself with Putin in the past, and he said he could end the war between Ukraine and Russia within one day. And there are fears, perhaps especially on the Ukrainian side, that that could mean that Ukraine has to maybe halt its membership to NATO and give up parts of its land to Russia, which is not something that Ukraine readily wants to do. So I think, these reports will definitely prompt concerns within Ukraine, absolutely, that as well as having calls with them, that Trump is having calls with the Russian president. But we kind of should have anticipated that that would happen. And because Trump has always really aligned himself with Putin. And Putin, when he congratulated Trump on his election win, is always very, very complimentary. What is clear is that there is a charm offensive happening on both sides. And lots of leaders around the world are worried about what it will mean when you have a Trump presidency.
All right, now speaking of Trump presidency, what are the latest numbers from the U.S. election results?
Yeah, that's right. So this weekend, we found out that Trump has won Arizona. So that's all 7 of the swing states went red, completely taken by the Republicans. So he has a total of 312 seats to Kamala Harris's 226. Remember, the number to win the Electoral College was 270. And now the Republican Party have already controlled the Senate. That's the upper chamber of the U.S. Congress, and the race for the House of Representatives is still ongoing today.
Now, it seems the Trump transition is well underway. What more can you tell us about, his appointment so far?
Yes, absolutely. Mar-a-Lago has become sort of the de facto HQ of the Trump transition, a winter White House, if you will, and lots of people gathering there, jostling for position. Elon Musk has practically moved in, we have heard. So we know that New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik has been made the ambassador to the United Nations. She has been described as an ice maiden and has been not very complimentary in the UN in the past. So that could be controversial. Tom Homan has also been appointed the border czar. Now, he is someone who was the president's acting director of immigration and customs enforcement, and he's thought to be in charge of those mass deportations that have been so widely touted by Trump throughout his election campaign. Trump has also said that Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo, people who both served in his first administration, will not be serving in this second administration this time round. Like I said, Elon Musk has practically moved into Mar-a-Lago. He's been present at a lot of the meetings and the positioning that's been going on, but we have no idea what his actual official position within a Trump administration will be. We know on the campaign he was touted as maybe perhaps something to do with cost-cutting and cost-saving, saving money in government, but he has no official position as yet.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Afia, for that update. Now, moving away from that, Yemen's Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for an attack on central Israel on Monday, following an Israeli military report that it intercepted a missile launch from Yemen. The Iran-backed Houthis asserted they had conducted a military operation targeting the Nahal Sorek military base southeast of Jaffa, describing the strike as precise and reporting that it resulted in a fire.
نفذت القوة الصاروخية في القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية نوعية استهدفت قاعدة نحال سوريك العسكرية جنوب شرق يافا في فلسطين المحتلة، وكانت الإصابة دقيقة بفضل الله، ما أدى إلى نشوب حريق في محيط الموقع المستهدف. وقد نفذت العملية بصاروخ باليستي فرط صوتي فلسطين 2 وحقق هدفه بفضل الله. إن القوات المسلحة اليمنية وردا على جرائم العدو الصهيوني في غزة ولبنان سوف تواصل عملياتها العسكرية، وإن هذه العمليات لن تتوقف إلا بوقف العدوان ورفع الحصار عن قطاع غزة ووقف العدوان على لبنان.
A hazardous mix of crop burning, high emissions, and cold weather has shrouded Lahore, Punjab province, in dense, acrid smog, escalating a worsening environmental crisis. Now, in recent years, this issue has intensified, and now pollution levels in Lahore, often ranked among the world's most polluted cities, have reached unprecedented highs. The International Air Quality Index considers values above 300 hazardous, yet Pakistan has frequently exceeded 1,000, marking a severe public health emergency. Now, the World Health Organization warns that this extreme air pollution heightens the risk of strokes, heart disease, lung cancer, and other respiratory illnesses.
Bad now, and you can't step outside, you can't take the kids anywhere, you can't even open your doors and windows because then the smoke comes in and it's terrible. That's it.
और there are things जो हैं इसके लिए options हैं to इसको tone down किया जाए smoke को at least घर के अंदर, लेकिन again there are air purifiers हैं. It's not an everyday चीज नहीं है for everyone to be able to buy it. It's an expensive proposition, हर बंदा afford नहीं कर सकता, और घरों के अंदर नहीं है हर एक के पास, हमारे पास भी नहीं है.
ये स्मोक तो अभी इन 2-3 सालों में हुई है, लेकिन लास्ट ईयर से इस दफ़ा काफ़ी ज़्यादा है और नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट्स भी हमारे पास ज़्यादा है. हमने
In the world of sports, Nigeria Premier Football League side Plateau United has been charged with breaching the framework and rules guiding the league during their matchday 11 fixture against Rangers International on Sunday. Now, the club faces a fine of 1 million naira for failing to provide adequate security and an additional 1 million naira for throwing objects onto the field, totaling 2 million naira. Additionally, Plateau United will incur a 3-point and 3-goal deduction from their accumulated points and goals due to an assault on a match official. Now, they are also fined 1 million naira each for failing to control their supporters and for misconduct that could bring the game into disrepute, bringing the total fine to 4 million naira. Plateau United will play their next 3 home matches behind closed doors at the new Jos Stadium ground. Portuguese champions Sporting Lisbon have announced João Pereira as manager, replacing Manchester United-bound Ruben Amorim as head coach. Now, the 40-year-old will step up from his role as reserve team boss following Amorim's departure to Old Trafford. Sporting staged a dramatic fight back from 2 goals down to win 4-2 at Braga on Sunday in Amorim's final match in charge and maintain their 100% record in the Primeira Liga this season. Now, Pereira, a former Portugal right back who enjoyed 3 spells at Sporting as a player, will hold his first press conference as boss later on Monday. Still talking sports, Barcelona star forward Robert Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal have picked up injuries which have ruled them out of the international break. Now, Lewandowski suffered a back injury in Sunday's 1-0 defeat at Real Sociedad, during which he had a goal controversially disallowed. The 36-year-old will miss Poland's upcoming Nation League against Portugal and Scotland, but should be back from Barcelona's next league outing at Celta Vigo on November 23rd. Meanwhile, the 17-year-old Yamal will miss Spain's matches on Thursday in Denmark and next Monday against Switzerland and Barca's trip to Celta Vigo. He is also a doubt for the home Champions League game against Brest on November 26 and the following La Liga meeting with Las Palmas. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Labour Union has given state governments December 1 deadline for implementation of new minimum wage. We also told you that sensitive materials have arrived for Ondo governorship poll. Finally, you heard that Mauritius Prime Minister Jugnauth has conceded election defeat. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Dashen. Usman.